All right, so let me stop messing around. So success factors. Back to Marcus Lemonis and the profit. So he goes into these businesses and he fixes them based on people, process, and product. So now what I'm going to do, I am going to explain to you what people, product, and process means. So take some notes, all right? Or just go back and watch this on the replay. And definitely, without a doubt, share it. And if you're into listening to podcasts, be sure to check out the Startup Junkie live show on iTunes, Spotify, iHeart Media, as well as tune in. Now, okay. People, product, and process. Number one is product, okay? We all know what a product or service is, and I'm counting products and services in the same. Now, but you have to ask yourself this question. What differentiates you and from the competition? Your product or service, what differentiates you, right? And so oftentimes you don't have to necessarily have a quote unquote better product or better service, especially when you're actually doing the same product or service. You just have to have a better way for consumers to actually use it, usability, access it, right? Great example of that is Amazon. You go to Amazon now, if you want to buy something, you click one button, boom, it's automatically bought. Or if it's something that you buy frequently and consistently, you can put yourself on a subscription for it and it automatically comes to you. Now, keep in mind, you might be buying the same stuff that you can buy at a store, but the product and the services around the product, which we're going to get into process because that's what it's all about, it makes it easier for you. In other words, the end user has an easier ease of use of the end user, which is the consumer. It's so much more enjoyable and takes less work and effort because at the end of the day, every consumer wants one thing. And I want you to write this down. One word, one thing, control. All right? One thing, one word, control. So the more control that you give a consumer over a product or service, the better you are to differentiate yourself or your value proposition, which is a product or service, from your competition in the market. That's super simple, right? Now, how do you do that? You do that by putting certain processes in place. Processes are, it could be structure, infrastructure. A process could be how people actually purchase your product or service. For example, and I'm just going to talk about disruptors in the market right now. And disruptors in the market basically took a product and did it a different way. Think about this. How much of a hassle is it sometimes for you to book a hotel room? To book a hotel room, calling reservations or whatever, is difficult. So guess what? You jump on Expedia, you jump on something else, and make it easy for you to do that, right? It make it easier for you to do that. You want another lodging example of the, quote unquote, lodging hotel industry? Check this out. Airbnb. Now, they've come up with a whole new way to provide stay for customers, right? They're not even using their resources. They only provided the platform for you to go through, the same thing that Uber did, right? Provided an app and letting drivers use their own cars and insurance, and letting, as in the case of Airbnb, letting consumers consume from other consumers or from other sellers in the market. In fact, Amazon is a prime example of that. A vast majority of people that things that you buy on Amazon are not even from Amazon, right? They are from third-party sellers. FBA, fulfilled by Amazon, which is an individual like me, where I can sell my individual products, or FBM, for sale by merchant. In other words, if I'm a merchant, I can place my stuff on Amazon and I can sell directly through the Amazon platform and they take a fee. All right. So what I'm saying to you, and this is key, right? What I'm saying to you is you have to think about We've already covered product. You have to think about product. You have to think about a process in which you can improve the user experience. And you also not only looking outside externally, the user experience, but you also have to think about the processes within your company to make things flow better, to make a better workflow. And that's those processes. Say if you put infrastructure in place, like when I used to have another company back in the day, when we were a marketing agency, right? We would go out, we would land clients, but I had a process by which once an agent went out and landed a client, the agent had to come in. They had to fill out a production order. They have to turn bullet points about the business over to a script writer. The script writer would turn it over to a production director. The production director would produce the commercial. The commercial that was produced would be given back to the account executive. The account executive would send it out to the client for approval. The client would go online and they would click a button and say, I like it, I don't like it, make this change. And that was a whole process, a production process, part of sales and production that actually helped us streamline our systems internally that made the user experience a whole lot easier and more enjoyable for the consumer, right? So you have to think about processes from an internal standpoint, how you're going to run your company internally and externally on how the user will experience those efforts that you have going on inside of your company. So that's super simple. I covered product, covered process, and now I'm going to cover people. Now, ladies and gentlemen, I got to tell you, the most difficult part of people, product, and process is people. Okay, are people. Okay, and let me tell you why it's the most difficult. Because you're working with someone you don't like, chances are it won't work. Okay. Eventually tensions will build up and it won't work. If you're working with someone who's not a part of what I call the dream team, in other words, people that believe in your product, your service, your mission, and they're just there to get a check, it's not going to work. Okay. So I'm saying to you, the most difficult part is picking the right people. But you might be saying, okay, AJ, if I'm a startup, I don't have money to pick the right people, right? I say to you that you should pick people that believe in your mission, but they're also willing to take a very small stake and some equity in your company, so you don't have to pay them money up front. But the point is, they actually believe in what you're doing, and that's what it's all about. As long as they believe in what you're doing and they understand that you are the captain of the ship, male or female, and that this is how the processes go within our company, they're willing to adhere to that, right? Then chances are you have a potential winner on your hands. Now, keep in mind, just because you can have successful people, you can have successful people, process, and product, it does not necessarily mean that you're going to have success as a business. And remember, I said to you in the very beginning, before I went off on my diatribe about the troll yesterday, I said to you that the one thing that's guaranteed in any business is struggle, right? Not success, but struggle, right? I give you a case in point. We've done business with companies and nonprofits, and I mentioned this yesterday too, that owes us, they owe us tons of money, and we still haven't received our money, right? You know what I mean? So sometimes, if you feel like maybe a process in your company, and I'm just using this as an example, process in your company is okay. We don't have a really good accounting process for accounts payables and accounts receivables. Then you have to make sure that you work on that to make that strong. So you have to work on your company internally and how it affects externally the users of your product or service, right? So that's the long and the short of people, product, and process.